There's one thing we all have that no one else does, and it's undoubtedly the most valuable thing you own: your identity. Lose it to a thief and you'll quickly realise it's worth more than you think. And it's a crime striking more of us, at least 1,000 people last year. Thieves stealing names, bank details, online lives, profiting from the very essence of who you are. Ask John Sileo, a leading American authority on identity theft.
I'm incredibly concerned, and I guess that's part of what I'm doing in New Zealand, is I want you to be able to see the mistakes that I've made. What do we have here? Cell phone, that's what I go for first.
Really? Why?
Yeah. I'll tell you that in a minute.
His advice is more than just theoretical. Sileo gives me a very practical tutorial on how vulnerable I am, how vulnerable we all are, to identity thieves.
You've got a Food Town card, I can get some information from them, an AA card. Driver's license, definitely going to need that later.
We'll see later on just how easily he could work it if he wanted to rip me off. He knows how because he's been on the other side, having his identity stolen twice, victim of the global underground industry which is flourishing on the internet. Through dodgy online forums like these, his details ended up in the hands of a woman who racked up $240,000 worth of debt in his good name. The whole experience led him to throw in IT and make the study of identity fraud a career. He's now in Dunedin to write his third book on the subject.
Essentially, I spent 2 years fighting to stay out of jail. But what really impacts you is the emotional side of it. For me, it was, I spent 2 years not at home, not present for my family, not tending to my business, which eventually died. And that's, identity is not just about numbers. It's about who we are, and it can completely redefine who you are.
Identity theft is fast becoming the crime of our times. They say an identity is stolen online worldwide once every 3 seconds. And in the age of social networking, we've made it so much easier for the criminal than ever before.
So I just went through to see
John Sileo shows us just how much information we readily release about ourselves and how easy it is for someone to exploit it. He goes onto Facebook and picks out a New Zealand student at random, one who's left far too much of her site unprotected.
We know she's a female, we know her full name, we know her parents' names and their profiles.
Yeah.
We know that she's single.
Which will be interesting to some people looking at her site.
Yeah, unfortunately, to people with bad intentions,
And here's where what he calls social engineering comes in. Fraudsters or con artists, stalkers even, who want to target you, invest time getting to know who you are, what makes you tick.
I can get a sense of, okay, I know who her idol is, I know the way that she speaks to her friends, and when I write and try and friend her, I'm going to use the same language. I'm going to use her friends' names, they're all listed over here. I'm going to say I'm a friend of, Lisa's.
Yeah.
And I'm going to speak in the same language, and I'm going to refer to a common event that's on her update page, her wall.
So we decided to think like a criminal. Remember, we don't know Grace, we've never met her, but we wondered, how close can we get to her using only the information she puts on Facebook? Like so many of the 400 million Facebook users, Grace posts frequently and openly about herself, what she thinks, where and what she studies, her favourite places to drink, what she likes to drink, where she works part-time, and sometimes even the days and hours she's working. If someone wanted to find her, she's made it incredibly easy for them. And so it proves. We spot her on our first attempt to find her in person. Here she is at work, on the night and in the restaurant she said she would be on her Facebook profile. Time for us to meet her. You're Grace, right?
Yeah.
You're a journalism student, yeah? It is so nice to finally meet you because I feel like I know so much about you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I know. That kind of sounds a little bit weird, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because I've been reading your Facebook page a little bit lately.
Oh, really?
We explained we're not actual stalkers. There is a valid reason for our interest. It's about proving a point, I suppose, to the public about the idea of privacy. Yeah, what do you reckon?
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Crazy, I know. But you don't need to be a Facebook or Twitter user to be a target. John Sileo says we carry around so much information, happily divulging it to the point we might as well have it on public display. It's a potential jackpot for criminals, who know there's no specific charge for identity theft, only for the crimes it leads to. So releasing even the most fundamental personal information can leave you exposed, which is why John Sileo pretty much never tells anyone anything. What is your date of birth?
I don't share that.
What about your children? What information do you feel protective about with them?
I rarely give out even their ages, not necessarily because I'm concerned about that specifically, but because it sends a message of, have you ever thought about, do you give your kids information away? Birth dates? No way. The amount I could do with a birth date and that child's name and knowing where they're born, I could cultivate their credit line and utilize that credit line for years, and they'd never know it because they don't go for credit until they're 16 or 18 and they're getting their first apartment.
And when they do?
There's nothing there. They have nothing.
It can, of course, be so much simpler. Remember, Sileo has been rifling through my bag? Without even necessarily stealing it, he already has enough information to begin manipulating me. First up, he got my number off my phone. He says he'd ring, pretending to be from the bank, telling me my account's being used suspiciously, but reassuring me they'll make it safe.
I say, excellent, there's no problem, we're going to help you shut it down. Here's additional information I've got on you. The only thing I need to shut it down is I need to verify your full name and your PIN number. That way we can shut it down before there's any liability on your part.
But I think that I know enough about this kind of thing to not reveal my PIN number.
Right. And we all think that. And believe it or not, more than 90% of people who think that they would not give that information away when they're in the heat of the moment and they're being socially engineered, they give it away like that.
Because you've said the right things to make me feel like I trust you.
Exactly.
You're official enough for me
and
to
I can build up more trust. I know more about you than the bank, than your specific bank does.
Because you've seen what else.
Because I've seen everything in your bag.
Yeah.
So I can really work the situation.
Is this a typical woman's handbag, or am I carrying around way too much information about myself?
Yes and yes. It is typical. I think the average woman carries 20 to 30 pieces of identity, and yes, you should be carrying around far less. What you don't...
If he'd taken the easy route and just stolen my wallet, he'd simply go online and max out my credit. Surely he couldn't get away with just going into a shop and buying something with my credit card. Or could he?
How you doing? Good. I need a moderate range price Pinot Noir, a Tago.
He has the conman's gift of the gab. He's relaxed and chatty. The retailer is put at ease.
You've got your girlfriend's card, have you? It's fuller.
Yeah.
Okay.
It can't possibly be that simple. Forging my signature, even though the shop assistant knew it wasn't his card. So you have a bottle of wine?
I do.
How did you pay for it?
Yours?
My credit card.
Your credit card.
That is
Yeah.
astonishing. The first shop we try.
Yeah.
Amazing.
First one.
Yeah. If he ever wanted to switch sides, he could probably make a killing. Instead, the hunted has now become the hunter, sussing out the psyche of identity thieves, so he can warn the rest of us, make us a little more savvy to how we too can...